The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening and welcome to Reproaction's final Act and Learn webinar for 2018. Tonight's topic is a year of bold direct action, looking back at this year. So first, let's start by having your host welcome you tonight. Thank you for joining. The first voice you're hearing is Erin Matson. I'm one of the co-founders and co-directors of Reproaction, and I'm based in Arlington, Virginia.
And this is Pamela Merritt. I'm the other co-founder and co-director of Reproaction, and I'm based in St. Louis, Missouri. So the agenda for tonight is a quick introduction of Reproaction for people who are new to the webinar. And then we're going to walk through some of our amazing work from 2018, including grassroots fake clinic accountability work, our self-managed abortion campaign, our broader national campaigns, our Don't Hide Plan B campaign for Harris Teeter, Wisconsin Fights 292, our ongoing maternal and infant mortality work, our work regarding SCOTUS and the Kavanaugh nomination. And then we'll go through some next steps, and there will be time for questions and answers at the end. The hashtag for live tweeting is Reproaction. Reproaction is a new direct action group that formed to increase access to abortion and advance reproductive justice. We are proud of our left flank analysis, our willingness to hold folks on all sides accountable, whether they identify as allies or opposition, and we're extremely proud of our commitment to nonviolent direct action. So 2018, it is hard to believe that this year is coming to a close. And I could not be more proud of the work that we were able to do in partnership with supporters and activists all over the country, and with the incredible dedication and skill of our wonderful team and staff. When they go low, we organize, and we organize the hell out of 2018. So let's kick it off with holding fake clinics accountable. Anybody who's familiar with Reproaction has got to be familiar with our anti-abortion fake clinic accountability work, which we do on a national level and definitely do through bold, aggressive blog posts and accountability work. And there was a post that just went up today. So if you haven't visited the blog, check it out. And then we also do grassroots direct action so that people who live in communities are aware of the fake clinics among them. We were able to do direct actions in Arkansas, in Missouri, and in Virginia and DC this year. And this was ongoing work. As the weather permitted, we were out holding them accountable for their use of state and federal money, when other programs that would actually improve the health outcomes for Black women and infants are not getting funded, for the lies and misleading information that they put out into the community. And we wanted to, first and foremost, make sure that we are providing information to the community about what exactly these fake clinics are about. And one of the best anecdotes from 2018 was actually took place in Washington, D.C., when somebody walking by one of our direct actions came back after walking past and asked some questions, and then said that they had no idea that this was an anti-abortion fake clinic, and they lived in the neighborhood for quite some time. Our fake clinic accountability work is ongoing because the opposition is continuing to expand and support these clinics. So if you haven't had a chance to check out our work, we document all of our direct actions in blog posts, and you can actually visit the fake clinic tab on our Take Action page on the website, and you can scroll down to the bottom and look through all of the amazing direct actions that we did in local communities, and then also the online work.
All right, thank you. So next, I'm going to talk about our self-managed abortion work that we did in 2018. So Reproaction has a self-managed abortion campaign, and the focus of this campaign is to educate people about self-managed abortion with pills. Specifically, we focus on misoprostol, and to get the word out so that people understand how to safely and effectively use misoprostol to end a pregnancy on their own terms. And it's important to share this information because information is power. No matter what abortion opponents do, they may build the political power to overturn Roe v. Wade, and they may be able to think that they're able to end access to abortion in this country. They will not be able to do so. So we're doing a lot of cool stuff related to our self-managed abortion campaign. We are on the ground in 7 states: Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, New York, DC, Virginia, and Maryland. And we have been hosting small gatherings where we share the World Health Organization protocol for safely and effectively ending a pregnancy using abortion pills. We've also been doing events like community forums. You can see an example of that here on the screen, where we talk about self-managed abortion with pills, and we invite the general public to talk about it. We've had a number of different topics for community forums. So I'm here in DC in this picture. We were talking about a range of topics related to self-managed abortion, including, is it safe, is it effective, what do we know about the pills that people are ordering over the internet. This panel featured Francine Coito from Plan C, which is an organization that has done research on that topic. We also talked about people being criminalized for ending their own pregnancies on this panel. But we've done other more local focused panels. I was pleased to sit on a panel, multiple panels in Virginia, where we talked about abortion access in Virginia and also self-managed abortion. In addition, we've been taking this on the road, and we've been sharing the information at a variety of conferences and doing outreach. We've done letter to the editor and messaging trainings for activists to learn how to talk about this emerging topic more. And we have a really cool abortion access display sign toolkit that's available to you. It's actually on our homepage right now if you go to reproaction.org, or it's also available under the resources tab, should you be watching this much later, weeks from now on the recording. So here you'll see, right here on the right side is an example of one of the signs on our abortion access display sign toolkit. And I've been pleased to bring this in my own personal efforts. I had a great talk with medical students and at GW Medical School, so George Washington University Medical School, and specifically with people who are planning to become abortion providers. We've also carried these signs to college campuses around the country. So really encourage you to check out the work and learn more. And next, I want to talk about some of our campaigns for truth and accountability. So Reproaction maintains a close eye on abortion opponents and makes sure that we're calling for truth and accountability. We know that abortion access is a human right, and we also know that abortion opponents frequently lie, use terrorism and violence to try to get their way, and do much more. So first, here's an example. We were tracking and monitoring the Gosnell movie, which was a movie about Kermit Gosnell, a butcher in Philadelphia. And I want to be clear that Kermit Gosnell preyed on women who didn't have other choices. In fact, one woman once told the media that she pursued an abortion with Dr. Gosnell because she wanted to avoid the protesters at another clinic. But he primarily preyed on low-income women and women of color, and he was a despicable criminal. Abortion opponents for years have been trying to conflate the crimes of Kermit Gosnell, which are actually the frightening thing is that when abortion is severely restricted, it only empowers monsters like Kermit Gosnell. They've been trying to use Kermit Gosnell as an excuse to shut down quality abortion care providers. And this year, some right-wing activists released a movie about Gosnell that they had fundraised for on Kickstarter. And they claimed that abortion was unsafe and that abortion providers are evil. That's absolutely not true. And further, we went on to monitor these filmmakers, then claimed falsely that the media was blacking out their movie and that the media wasn't appropriately reviewing their movie, when in fact mainstream media did review the movie. And I actually wrote back in a letter to the editor to the Wall Street Journal, responding to a column where someone had not only made this untrue claim, but then had also noted that there were a number of empty seats in the theater. I think the reason why there were empty seats in the theater is that the vast majority of people in this country don't agree with the agenda behind these movie makers. They don't want to ban abortion in this country. Another piece of what we have done is we continue to stand with abortion providers in the face of anti-abortion violence. We engage in a number of positive events outside of abortion clinics. So in Virginia, our senior organizer frequently participates in a positive presence and organizes a positive presence in coalition with NARAL Pro-Choice Virginia to stand outside the Falls Church Healthcare Center and provide a positive, welcoming force for people who are entering abortion clinics. We have watched with alarm Shelley Shannon, an anti-abortion terrorist who actually shot Dr. Tiller in his arms before he was later murdered by Scott Roeder, was released from a halfway house and is now in the general public. So that is something that's very frightening. We have also monitored other movements of anti-abortion terrorists when they've been up for parole. We have written letters. And so this is something that we monitor closely, and we stand in solidarity with abortion care providers, and in particular, just highlighting that independent abortion care providers provide the majority of abortion care in this country. They are our allies, and we stand with them every single day. Okay, the next thing that I'm proud to share is Pamela had shared some of the on-the-ground work that we've been doing for fake clinic accountability for anti-abortion fake clinics or crisis pregnancy centers. I'm super excited to share that we released for the first time publicly our data set of independently verified, rigorous research that we've done to pin down the crisis pregnancy centers that are operating in the United States. Prior to the release of this list, there have been a number of different lists and numbers that wildly fluctuate about how many there are. There's just over 2,600, so that we can get on the same page here. But I'm very proud of the rigorous analysis that we've applied at Reproaction. And you can go on our website under the resources section or the Fake Clinic campaign page and find a link to the Fake Clinic database. And there you can look up fake clinics that may be in your area. You can see the name that they're using. You'll see a lot of times they use deceptive names like Women's Resource Center or Her Choice, Birmingham Women's Center, even though we know they're very much not about choice. And then if they're affiliated with a major anti-abortion fake clinic network, such as CareNet or Heartbeat International, roughly 7 in 10 or 70% of crisis pregnancy centers or fake clinics in this country are part of a big conglomerate and are not a mom and pop fake clinic. And then also we have links to their website and their social media pages. So you can check that out. You can also, we've got a fantastic toolkit that our campaign lead put together that is designed to help you take action in your own community, even if Reproaction isn't in your community and you can't link up with one of the organizers that we have on staff. We have resources available to support you and learn about best ways to take direct action and demand accountability outside that fake clinic in your community. And then recently, there I am, we dropped off a petition to Twitter. So abortion opponents are frequently playing the victim, which they are not. And they also claim that they are being censored, is one of their frequent tactics, similar to the claim earlier I told you from the Gosnell movie makers, that they claimed they were facing a media blackout when they were not. So Twitter actually shamefully has been aiding pro-life lies. In this case, Senator-elect Marsha Blackburn, when she announced her campaign for Senate, she ran a campaign ad that falsely claims that Planned Parenthood sells baby body parts. Now, what's important about that is not only is that completely untrue and in violation of Twitter's policies for paid advertisements that it runs on the network, but it also is the exact same claim that stemmed out of the fraudulent and deceptive and heavily edited videos produced by the Center for Medical Progress that actually culminated in an admitted mass shooter going into Planned Parenthood Health Center in Colorado Springs just 3 years ago, and killing and murdering 3 people and injuring 9 others. And he made a reference to baby body parts immediately or shortly thereafter, after the shootings, to law enforcement. So not only was this ad clearly in violation of Twitter's policy, it's also language that has directly been used to fan the flame of violence and is associated with a mass killing in this country. Twitter rightfully rejected the ad, but then faced protest from anti-abortion quarters and reversed itself and did not fairly apply its policy. So we collected petition signatures from over 2,500 people and showed up at Twitter's office in DC for an unannounced visit. It was a snowy day, so I hope you liked my boots as well, and went in and dropped them off. So it's important to note that we are holding everyone accountable, and we will not give anti-abortion folks a pass to get a different set of rules from everybody else. And this is important, particularly when tech companies wield so much power over our daily lives. And with that, I'll pass it back to Pamela.
Thank you so much, Erin. So before I run through our awesome Don't Hide Plan B campaign work this year, just a reminder that if you have questions about our campaigns or our work in 2018, please drop it into the question tab on your GoToWebinar control panel. Beginning last year, we actually had our then Virginia organizer, who is now our senior organizer, Caitlin, pulled together a campaign plan that was inspired by actions that Erin had done the previous year around Harris Teeter not stocking Plan B One Step on the shelf. So Harris Teeter requires that people go and take a card off of the shelf and then go to an employee or a manager or the pharmacy to actually get Plan B One Step. So there's a number of reasons why that's not a good policy. The biggest reason being that nobody should have to put themselves at, or air their medical needs or their desire to get Plan B before a manager or a store employee. And then as far as the pharmacy goes, the pharmacy hours are often very different from the store hours. So if you have to actually get it from a pharmacist, then Plan B One Step is not available for the hours that Harris Teeter is open. We were deeply concerned, and Erin actually noticed this when shopping in a Harris Teeter and wrote an awesome article for Rewire and actually began a dialogue with Harris Teeter, and then they basically did not change their policy. So when they go low, we organize. So Caitlin pulled together a very multi-layered campaign and under the hashtag Don't Hide Plan B. This campaign includes online and offline actions that have been ongoing through 2017 into this year. I actually saw that there was a post saying that we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of our first direct action, and Harris Teeter has still not budged, but the campaign has grown. So now people, even in the home state where Harris Teeter is headquartered in North Carolina, are expressing their outrage and are contacting Harris Teeter and saying, why won't you change this policy and make Plan B one step available for people who should not have to go through hoops or subject themselves to somebody's judgment just to access emergency contraception. What you see here is pictures of direct action, and then this is actually the top picture has a picture of Henrietta, the Plan B dragon, and it's a birthday picture because it was celebrating the anniversary of emergency contraception when the FDA changed the rules and allowed for Plan B to be sold on the shelf over the counter at pharmacies and drugstores across the country, and groceries that actually have a pharmacy like Harris Teeter. Next slide, please. If you have not already followed Henrietta the Plan B Dragon, I highly recommend that you do. Henrietta is fierce, awesome, feminist, progressive activist who really, honestly, relentlessly demands that Harris Teeter put Plan B one step on the shelf. This is the creative project and creation of our awesome senior organizer. And this content is really cutting edge, and it also offers a lot of different opportunities for people to keep track of the campaign, but also to take action. So I highly recommend that you follow Henrietta and take action whenever Henrietta, the Plan B Dragon, tells you to. Our next campaign that I wanted to highlight is one that we're proud of all of our campaigns, if you haven't caught on, but we're extremely proud to have expanded our grassroots organizing into Wisconsin in partnership with our friends at National Advocates for Pregnant Women. We have been in dialogue with National Advocates for Pregnant Women since our founding, basically. We're huge supporters and fans of their work, and obviously we like to make sure that we understand exactly what's going on as it relates to people who experience pregnancy and their rights in the states that we're doing organizing. It was brought to our attention that they were doing ongoing work about Wisconsin's Act 292, and that so we basically came to an agreement that we would be doing organizing, and we are thrilled that National Advocates for Pregnant Women is funding our work in Wisconsin. And our goal is to create a climate of outrage and understanding of Wisconsin's Act 292, and also build capacity in Wisconsin. Just for some information, folks in Wisconsin might not even be aware that Wisconsin, under Act 292, can take certain pregnant women into custody, appoint a lawyer for her embryo or fetus, and lock the woman up in a drug treatment program, mental hospital, or jail, regardless of whether or not treatment is needed. There are 2 cases that we've actually been promoting online that really drive home how outrageous this law is. That, you know, if you tell your doctor that you've used drugs in the past, even if you're not saying that you're a current drug user, they can trigger this. And just to put some numbers behind that, in Milwaukee in 2016, there were over 200 cases that were referred to the state of Wisconsin through this law for investigation. And that can have a devastating impact on women's lives and on their health, and ultimately on their ability to maintain their jobs, to keep their children in custody of their children. And ultimately, what it boils down to is that people who experience pregnancy have less rights in the state of Wisconsin than other people. And that's outrageous, and we're not going to stand for it. We were thrilled to welcome a native Wisconsinite, Natalie, to our team. And Natalie is doing awesome work, both to educate people who are vulnerable to enforcement of Act 292. These are people who might be going into a drug treatment facility or to Center for Prenatal Care, and make sure that they get the pamphlet that you're seeing there on the screen, a leaflet that actually provides information about what Act 292 allows Wisconsin to do, and then also what kind of resources and rights that they have. And if they have concerns, they can actually reach out to some of the resources that are on the back of the leaflet and get answers to their questions. In the time that we've been doing this work, just in a few short months, we've actually had people who are going into drug treatment facilities and are pregnant who were just floored and weren't aware that this was something that they might actually be subjected to. And we're extremely grateful for this information. The second half of what we're doing in Wisconsin is making sure that people in Wisconsin are aware of what the state was doing and is doing in their name and with their tax dollars to devastate families and communities. And that if ultimately this kind of law actually has the effect of making people not go to the doctor, not seek prenatal care, and that is a dangerous thing and the polar opposite of what we want to do to improve maternal outcomes. So obviously things are looking much different in Wisconsin. There's been a radical change of who is going to be in the governor's office and in the attorney general's office. And those are the two key offices for enforcement of Act 292. And, the state legislature is a whole different ball of wax, and apparently a lot of shenanigans have been going on in the last 48 hours or the last week. So we're going to wait and see kind of how that impacts what they might do there. But our work will continue with the expectation that Wisconsin stop enforcement of Act 292 and ultimately repeal this horrific legislation. The next campaign is one that, for our grassroots organizing, is something that we've been doing since day one. Reproaction has been deeply committed to educating the public about maternal and infant mortality in the states where we have boots on the ground. We are in Missouri, in Arkansas, in, as I said, Wisconsin, which is a dedicated campaign there, and also on the ground in Virginia and in DC, and we have staff in New York. Basically, every place that we do work has high infant and maternal mortality rates for Black women and babies. Sometimes, like in the state of Missouri, we're talking about 4 times the average rate of death as a result of pregnancy or a birth outcome, or for an infant, 4 times more likely to die within the first year of life for Black babies as opposed to white babies. So this is something that Black Mamas Matter and awesome groups have been really raising the profile of and doing a wonderful job of advocating on behalf of proven programs and changes that would have a direct impact. our role as a direct action organization is to amplify the voices and center people who are impacted by maternal and infant mortality, to educate local communities about how this is impacting their ability to thrive and grow and be prosperous, and also to educate people who are vulnerable in that population that might have a higher increased risk about programs that are happening in their local area that they might not even be aware of, and about the overall risk, which a lot of people aren't aware of until they see some high profile incident like Serena Williams, who wrote so eloquently about her birth experience and traumatic health scare. The picture that you're seeing here is from an awesome activist who was pregnant and actually had you can see in the picture is pregnant in the picture, and this was part of a campaign that Eva, who is our Missouri organizer, put together to gather pictures of people who want to raise the profile and prioritize maternal and infant mortality. And basically, it's a picture campaign, and the activists all wrote down why they thought that Missouri should prioritize maternal and infant mortality. This particular activist was pregnant and said that I deserve to raise my baby after delivery. I can't think of a more profound statement to drive home why this work matters and why the voices and the wishes and the hopes and the spirit of people who are directly impacted by maternal and infant mortality need to be amplified and centered in our work. Then that note right there, and it really drives home, the work that we're doing, which includes online work, including Maternal Mondays, which is a campaign that Eva did on Twitter under the hashtag Maternal Mondays throughout 2018. It also includes screening events of the Fusion documentary Death by Delivery, which we had in Arkansas and in Missouri, all across the state. After the screening of the documentary, which is done in Georgia, but the same exact issues actually impact Arkansas and Missouri, and a lot of the same challenges and lack of access to healthcare across the board. And after the screening of the documentary, Eva organized panel discussions of local activists and healthcare providers, and our Arkansas fellow Camille did the same thing. So you had OBGYNs, doulas, midwives, people who themselves had either lost a loved one or an infant due to maternal and infant mortality, and activists who are working at the intersections of reproductive oppression would talk about how a critical issue this is for communities, how devastating it is for families, and what we can do and what we're not doing to actually impact this. In both Arkansas and in Missouri, one of the things that we have been pointing out from day one is the fact that when in a state that has a legislature and a political power that says that it's pro-life and has a lack of access to healthcare for people who experience pregnancy. It is outrageous that the state of Missouri and the state of Arkansas send millions of dollars to anti-abortion fake clinics. In Missouri, it's $9 million of state tax credits and federal funds go to anti-abortion fake clinics that do nothing to improve the birth outcomes for Black women and infants or for Missourians on a whole. So one of the things that we like to highlight, because it's something that is unacceptable and a perfect example of having the wrong priorities and a callous disregard for the lives of Black women and infants, is that $9 million would go a long way to fulfilling this activist's wish to be able to raise her children after delivery, and every Missourian's wish to do the same. Every time we highlight that in a direct action in front of a crisis pregnancy center, at least one person walks by and says they had no idea that the state of Missouri takes federal TANF funds that are supposed to be feeding hungry children and sends them to anti-abortion fake clinics. And as we often say and can never say enough, knowledge is power and often fuels the best activism. And when people in a community become outraged at that kind of injustice, that's where real change can happen. Next slide.
All right, thank you, Pamela. So now I'm going to talk a bit about what happened at the Supreme Court this year. And after Justice Kennedy announced his retirement, immediately at that moment, we knew we had to kick into high gear. Donald Trump campaigned with a promise to only appoint justices who would overturn Roe v. Wade. It's something he said would happen automatically, unquote, quote unquote, automatically. And we know that Donald Trump has kept his promises on a variety of issues, and he did no different in nominating Brett Kavanaugh to fill that vacancy on the Supreme Court. Now, Brett Kavanaugh is somebody who's now occupying a seat. Justice Kennedy had operated as a swing vote on abortion. There were 4 justices who generally supported abortion rights, 4 justices who opposed abortion rights, and then Justice Kennedy, who would move back and forth. So what happened this summer is that the balance of power shifted so that there is now an enduring 5-seat majority of conservative, deeply conservative men who are poised to overturn Roe v. Wade. We know that it's likely this could happen as early as next summer in 2019 or 2020. And instantly, when Justice Kennedy's retirement was announced, we pivoted to our self-managed abortion campaign. But I also want to highlight that we opposed Kavanaugh with everything we had, even before we learned of the horrible experiences that Dr. Christine Blasey Ford and Deborah Ramirez went through with their sexual assaults. And they said that Brett Kavanaugh sexually assaulted them, and we believed them. And we believe that they deserved a fair hearing. So here we have Kara and Caitlin outside the Values Voter Summit in Washington, D.C., a confab of extreme far-right-wing activists who get together and standing up for Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. We also took direct action to shore up various senators and try to get their vote in the right way. So here's Eva. Eva actually shared her abortion story with Senator Claire McCaskill's staff. We held Senator Claire McCaskill firmly accountable to coming out no on Kavanaugh. It took her far too long to do so. We also held Senator Tim Kaine accountable, and it took him far too long to do so through requests for meetings with reproductive justice advocates at the state level. I also met with Senator Mark Warner in Virginia, my other senator, and with a variety of state-level reproductive health rights and justice advocates, and he live streamed that on Facebook, which we felt was a standard that all senators should follow on a matter of such deep concern to Americans. So we took direct action. We're very proud of what we did. We're always proud to stand with survivors of sexual assault. We believe them. We believe you. And we are not done fighting. No matter what Brett Kavanaugh and the rest of the other remaining 4 men, or the 5 conservative men on the Supreme Court do to abortion access in this country, we will fight, and we are resolved. I stood outside of the White House earlier this fall and read the World Health Organization protocol for safely and effectively ending a pregnancy using misoprostol, we will make sure people get the information they need to safely and effectively end their pregnancies. And we will continue to stand with survivors. So we're proud of that work. And with that, I want to strongly urge you to sign up for alerts at www.reproaction.org if you have not done so already, so that you can plug into our groundbreaking work in 2019 and beyond. If you're on that email list, you won't miss a thing, including invitations to future Act to Learn webinars. We run these every single month. You can follow us on social media. We are Reproaction on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And please save the date for our next Reproaction Act to Learn webinar. The topic will be Stop Prosecuting Abortion, and which is already happening in this country, unfortunately. It will take place on Wednesday, January 30th. It'll be from 7 to 8 Eastern, and we will send out an invitation next year. So again, if you sign up for our alerts at www.reproaction.org, you won't miss a thing. And with that, I'll pass it to Pamela in the event there are any questions.
Thank you so much, Erin. So I'm not seeing any questions, and in the interest of respecting everybody's time, and we were super efficient with this webinar, I hope that our attendees enjoyed our review of some of our work. We were not able to touch on everything that our awesome team accomplished this year, but just highlighting some of the work, and want to take a moment just to thank our team, our staff, and our fellows who are fantastic and amazing, and of course our activists and supporters who make our work possible, and thank my co-director and co-leader, co-partner in crime for just being an awesome supporter, but also for being a great sounding board so that we can be consistent and thoughtful and deliberate and audacious in our direct actions. But thank you so much for joining us. As Erin said, we do these Act and Learn webinars every month, and we hope to see you on the one that's coming up in January. And again, just another plug, please do sign up for our email list and alerts on reproaction.org. We hope that everybody has a fantastic holiday season and New Year, and it rests up and is prepared to hit the ground, and we will see you in the streets in 2019. Thank you so much.